What's going on, everybody? Welcome into your go-to show for sports here on the shore. The Delmarva Sports Insider. It returns yet again. It's your show sports anchor, Devin J. Martin. Welcome to the show. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. So let's go over what we have in store for you tonight. A packed night of football. Indian River taking on St. Elizabeth in a 1A duel. The Indian River team looking pretty good against their 1A rivals. Plus, we got a brand new After the Whistle featuring a rodeo prodigy. And on top of that, we got soccer and much more coming right up. So as I said, we have a lot of football action to cover tonight, and it's going to just be me here by myself today. Our sports director, Brandon Bosser, is out tonight. But, yeah, by my count, we had at least 16 games happening just tonight in Delaware and Maryland. But we got to start up in Delaware with our Henlopen squads tonight. 8 of those 16 games happening with our local team. So let's start with Sussex Tech, a 2A squad that's had a great start to the season. 2-0 so far, and they're looking for a perfect 3-0 as they took on 1A seeded 1A team Conrad. Now, let's jump to the third quarter. The Ravens, they were up pretty big on Conrad. You're going to see those highlights shortly. They were on the goal line, and it took a lot for Sussex Tech to be able to get this win, but they had a huge win over Conrad. They blew them out. They were up big. They ended up only going up by 10, and then they scored a touchdown in response, and they would end up winning a big game over Conrad, destroying them 46-17. But now let's move on to Seaford. They were taking on Winters Mill at the home of the Blue Jays. Let's cue up those highlights. They were taking on Winters Mills, and this was a really good game. They would take on Winters Mills. It would be a very low-scoring game in this one. Now, it would be Khalil Kilgo starting off the first half with a handoff from quarterback Jahari Ross. That makes the score 6-0, and then the Blue Jays would continue to dominate on both sides of the ball in the first quarter. Noah Kaglovitz would tackle a running back for a yards lost, causing Winters Mill to punt the ball off. And even after the Blue Jays failed to make a touchdown, Caden Andrews tackles for loss right there in the backfield, setting up a field goal, making the score 6-3. But look at that throw right there in the start of the second quarter. Ross Will finds Everett Burton for another touchdown. Blue Jays go up 12-3. Winters Mills would go on to score in the final moments of the first half. But that would be the final scores for both teams for the rest of the game. Seaford wins a low-scoring game by 2, 12-10 over Winters Mills at home. And now we got to head over to Dagsboro. This game was completely different. Another 1A match. Indian River taking on St. Elizabeth. St. Elizabeth has been pretty good the past few seasons, even in the state championship game a couple years ago. Indian River on the come-up. They're up 21-14. Dylan Grice hands the ball off to Javion Chandler. He makes a score 27-14. And then later, it's Indian River the ball again, and it's the same play. This time, Davian Handy getting the ball. He gets around the defenders and runs it in for another touchdown. Indian River extends their lead to 33-14. And if it isn't broke, don't fix it. Another handoff to Handy, and it's too easy for him as he gets another touchdown. IR goes up 40-14. The same goes for Chandler as he gets another handoff. He shakes the defense, and he runs it in for the score. He's going to go into the end zone untouched, and he scores yet again. Indian River with another huge win at home, beating St. Elizabeth 46-28. Now, Indian River, they've been probably the best team in the 1A so far. It's between them and Polytech. Polytech was really good last year, winning over 10 games. But Indian River, they have been creeping up slowly but surely over the past few seasons, and it looks like they're peaking right now. Haven't lost a game so far against St. Elizabeth, one of the teams that has been a 1A contender for the past few years, but Indian River had their way with them. So let's move on to the rest of the Henlopen tonight. Let's start with Dover taking on Appoquinimink. You see the final score. They lost 45-21. Yeah, the Dover's defense got carved up. The Appoquinimink QB, he had 6 total touchdowns, 5 passing, 1 rushing. You also see Milford losing big to William Penn, 50-14. And then Smyrna finally getting another win, beating Delaware Military, or the first one actually, beating Delaware Military Academy 36-6. And then Red Lion and Lake Forest actually headed into overtime. That was a 1-score game. 1-point game, excuse me. Red Lion takes the win over Lake Forest 27-26. And finally, Laurel, yet another victory. This time they shut out Cesar Rodney 14-0. So yeah, a great win for Laurel as well. Dover, they're looking for their first win. They were a 3A title contender last year as well, but so far they haven't been able to win a game. And yeah, they've fallen so far. So we're going to see. Obviously, they have a new man at the helm. There's an adjustment period. I think Dover, the Senators, are going to finish the season strong compared to how they've started so far. But yeah, they're still searching for their first win. Smyrna, their first dominant performance so far this year on the gridiron. Now, we got to move to the Bayside. The Easton Warriors, they look like their namesake today when they traveled to County Stadium to face the Y-High Tribe because they were kicking their butts. They were up 35-0 over Y-High heading into the fourth quarter. So you know what that means? That's a running clock. Now, the Tribe did have one bright spot in a pretty bleak evening, and that's the sack right there, a tackle for loss. But besides that, it really wasn't that much that the Tribe were able to do. They tried to at least put some points on the board at the end of the game with time winding down. He makes a good pass right there, breaking through a couple tackles, and he's trying to go all the way, but he gets dragged down by the Warriors at the 20-yard line. They have less than a minute to go. It's a running clock, so they need to get some plays off, and let's see if they can do it. He's looking for a man. He finds a man. That's another catch. And now they're down to the 10-yard line. But the thing is, they only have about 15 seconds. So let's see if they can at least get the final playoff to get into the end zone. Nope, they don't do it. So Y-High, they get shut out 35-0. They don't win. Easton shows some real toughness and some real grit and some real skill, shutting out Y-High on the road. Again, 35-0. That's a 7-score game right there. A great win for them. Now, let's move on for some more action. This game is actually from yesterday. We got an interstate game between Delmarva, and they were on the road to take on Colonel Richardson, and this was a pretty good game. Yeah, Delmarva, though, again, in the home of the Colonels, but they made themselves at home. The Wildcats came out swinging. Aiden McCauley passing it off to Khalid Schofield, and he scores. And then the Wildcats, they get the ball yet again. This time, Clayton Kramer running it in for a touchdown. Yeah, these guys were doing a lot of damage on the ground. That's 2 rushing touchdowns so far. Colonel Richardson finally with a response. Taryn Hammond throwing the ball deep to Jazir Dickerson. A great grab. That's a Randy Moss type grab right there. Running it in for the touchdown. The extra point is good, so the Colonels are finally on the scoreboard. It's 13-7 at the end of the half. But the Wildcats come out strong in the second half. Another rushing touchdown. This time the quarterback keeper McCauley running it in himself. The score is 19-7. Wildcats knocking on the door yet again. Isaiah Holbrook gets the rushing touchdown. So that's 4 rushing touchdowns just right there. And they get the extra 2-point conversion to go as well. So they go. It's 27-7. And then Colonels finally respond with Hammond rushing it in, making it 27-13. But the Wildcats, they're not done just yet. McCauley hands it over to Kramer, and he goes to the open hole. And now it's a 33-17 game. That's the final. Wildcats run away with it. 5 rushing touchdowns. They win this game by 16 points. Again, yeah, that Colonel Richardson defense, they were getting sliced up on the ground. Again, they gave up 5 rushing touchdowns. Now let's go to some other games from the Bayside that happened tonight. You see the scores right there. Queen Anne's, they lose to Chesapeake 16-6. Cambridge beating Century 49-21, so a great win for them. CSD looking like a dominant team yet again in the 1A. And then Stephen Decatur still undefeated, haven't lost a game in over 2 years. 40-19 over in Baltimore County, taking down Randallstown 40-19. They actually took a 3-score lead, 21-0 going into the second quarter, and obviously they never looked back. They never relinquished that lead. So Stephen Decatur, through the first couple weeks of the season in the Bayside, looking just as dominant as they did last year. So we're going to see exactly how they continue to go as the season goes on, and let's see if they can go back-to-back. But they're looking like they're up for the challenge so far early in this 2024 season. Now stay updated while we're at some of these games in real time. Follow WMDT Sports on Facebook and X right now. Now that's going to do it for the A block. We're calling our first time out, but when we return, we've got a brand new After the Whistle, that and more when Delmarva Sports Insider returns.
Hi, I'm Tony Mason with Salisbury Football, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insider. Go Goals!